I give Canelo all the credit in the world for the false bravado that he displayed last night when he said he's the best fighter in the world. The best fighter in the world based off what? That performance. So you consider yourself the best fighter in the world coming off that performance against a guy that was a flat out ripe cherry pick from the cherry tree. And yet again, you find yourself not being able to stop a guy in Edgar Berlanga that many people believe this fight shouldn't have went past 6 rounds. I was generous enough to give Canelo 8, but Berlanga went the distance. And it got to the point to where Berlanga started not to respect Canelo's power. And, I got a phone call from somebody that has 30 years in boxing, management, training, etc. And he said, I'm not going to say who he is, but he said it himself that Canelo is on the decline. He said that he believes that Canelo's best years is behind him. So now Canelo, what he's going to have to do, he's going to have to try to circle the wagon and figure out what is the most safest fight that he could have going into May of 2025. He doesn't want any parts of, he doesn't really want the winner of Better Bibble. He doesn't want to fight David Morrell Jr. He doesn't want to fight David Benavidez. Those dudes are all campaigning at light heavyweight, which those guys are going to make light heavyweight very interesting. Light heavyweight has always been a very interesting division, but now, they're going to make it very interesting. Super middleweight will always be super middleweight. Genovic, according to reports, is moving up to 168. So, So there you have it. But just really evaluating that fight and reassessing that fight and looking at it again, you just can see that Canelo is on the decline. He cannot get people up out of there. He can't get people up out of there. And these guys are far bigger than him. But I think as far as Edgar Berlanga go, I think Edgar Berlanga shows some heart. And I believe that Edgar Berlanga can take this as a learning experience and see what he can do to get better as a fighter. Edgar Berlanga is going to have to go all in when it pertains to boxing. Stop trying to be a rapper, and all this kind of stuff and focus on boxing. You're 27 years old. At the end of the day, you're going to have an opportunity to be, very possibly a major figure at 168, as long as your body allowed you to continue to be able to make 168. But looking at Canelo versus Crawford, like I said before, I don't like that fight. I just don't like that fight. Maybe Canelo is going to really consider fighting somebody like Conor McGregor, a guy who hasn't fought in 3 years. And going into 2025, it would be 4 years. So that would be a safe bet for Canelo. But once again, what's out there for Canelo? What's out there for Canelo? What direction should he go? And people are sitting up here celebrating that performance. You won, in all likelihood, 12 out of 12 rounds. But the problem is you wasn't supposed to go 12 rounds with this dude. And Canelo got hit with some shots. I think Berlanga would have been able to put his punches together a little bit, and he had been a little more fluent with his punches. He would have been able to do more damage than what he did. I think he would have had a better showing, but you could tell that he was lacking experience in that fight with Canelo. Well, Jake Paul could be on the cards. If Jake Paul gets past Mike Tyson, who knows? That could be on the cards for Canelo. Canelo would consider fighting Jake Paul at this point if he feels that the money is right and that could be a very lucrative fight. Canelo, from this standpoint on, is going to probably try to find more cherry picks. Now, I think this completes his contract with PBC. I think Canelo had a 3-fight deal with the PBC, so I think this completes his 3-fight deal with the PBC. And it wasn't wasn't very interesting to say the least. Let me see. Charlo, Charlo, Mugia, and now Edgar Berlanga. So Canelo should be a promotional free agent after this. Oh, you didn't miss nothing. You didn't miss nothing. This was just a typical Canelo fight. Typical Canelo. Canelo got the dude, in the ring. He basically dropped him, and he wasn't able to seal the deal. A problem he's had in his last few fights. Canelo picking and choosing his spots. At the end of the day, when Canelo fights, I don't exactly always see what you would call a barn burner. I'm really trying to think what classic fight Canelo was involved in, with the exception of possibly the 2 Triple G fights. Canelo is very pedestrian with his punch output. It really comes down to the opponent. Canelo definitely doesn't fight like Tank. Canelo is a boxer. He's not a fighter. He's a boxer. He has pop in his punch, but he doesn't have the pop that, you saw him display in his past few fights. Because like I said before, with the exception of Caleb Plant, Canelo hasn't had a stoppage in a while. So now it's getting to the point to where now you're getting used to seeing Canelo go the distance. And Oscar De La Hoya, to his credit, he predicted this would be the typical Canelo performance. He go 12 rounds and he may hurt Berlanga, but then they got to the point with Berlanga kept coming. And Abner Mares, like I said, Abner Mares was out of his fucking mind to sit up there and say that they should consider stopping the fight. Why, Abner? Why? I saw nothing that showed me or demonstrated that his team, Edgar Berlanga's team, should consider stopping the fight. For what? What was going on in that fight to where you thought that they should stop? Now, Danny Garcia, that's a different story. Danny Garcia was completely out of that fight. Danny Garcia was a dude who refused to engage. His father got to the point to where he was like, all right, I got to stop this. You're not. His father kept asking, hey, are you okay? Even his father noticed something. Hopefully, Danny Garcia will announce his retirement. I don't want to see Danny Garcia no more. I've seen enough of this dude. I've always thought that Danny Garcia was a dude. He did his best work at 140. He had some great wins at 140. But when he went up to 147, I'm not going to say he got exposed, but you started to see that he wasn't a top tier fighter compared to Spence, Sean Porter, and some of those other guys, Keith Thurman. Keep in mind, Danny Garcia lost to all of those guys. He did have a competitive fight with Sean Porter, but Sean Porter managed to get it together, and Sean finished very strong, and Sean got the nod. I thought the Keith Thurman fight wasn't as competitive as they made it out to be. I thought Keith Thurman clearly won that fight, but they gave Keith Thurman a split decision. But I thought Keith Thurman did far and beyond enough to get the nod. You just got to tell the truth about Danny Garcia. But like I said before, it makes all the sense in the world. Shout out to Bernie the Boxer, because me and him, I chopped it up with Bernie the Boxer a little bit. I sent him a text. But now you guys see why Al Heyman didn't let Danny Garcia near Terrence Crawford. He knew what was up. He knew what would happen to him, and he had to save Danny Garcia. And keep in mind, like I was told, most promoters make money when they have in-house fighters versus each other, versus, fighting fighters outside of the brand or outside of the promotional company or doing joint promotional ventures. Well, a Caleb Plant rematch could be in the cards. I'm gonna be honest with you. That Caleb Plant had the best fight last night. He had the most entertaining fight last night. Who would think it? Two white guys having the best fight out of everybody on the card. But I guess Caleb Plant was like, I refuse to lose to a dude with a mullet. Dude, get off my channel trolling before I run your ass off my channel. Canelo ain't remotely the best. Quit playing with me, dude. Quit trolling my channel before I run you off my channel, dude. Don't come here with that BS. Canelo ain't remotely the best. The best at what? Not being able to stop cherry picks? Yep, you're right. Canelo, you know what? You are absolutely right. Canelo is the best at not being able to stop cherry picks. Canelo then had a few bad fights. These were dudes that were handpicked for him to get stoppages, and he couldn't get it done. Edgar Berlanga was a flat-out cherry pick. Jaime Munguia was a cherry pick. They were all there for Canelo to stop him, and Canelo can't stop guys. He can't get him out of there like he used to. So, dude, don't come on here with that BS. Who the hell you think you talking to, dude? Yeah, Canelo the best. Hey, Canelo the best at not being able to stop cherry picks. Listen, Canelo is a Hall of Fame fighter, but it's like, y'all remember Purple Rain? Y'all remember Purple Rain when dude told Prince, he said, "Hey man, you ain't packing a man like you used to." You know, when he was telling Prince that the type of music that he performing, that people ain't interested in that type of music. Well, with Canelo, he just not doing what he used to do. And Canelo is just on the decline. And I saw this in several of his fights. I saw it going back to the Dimitri Bivol fight. Canelo's getting long in the tooth at 34. When you've had over 60 fights, such as Canelo, fighting since you 15, it's going to take toll on you. It's going to take toll on you. I'm not putting Canelo down. I'm not putting Canelo down. It happens to all fighters. It happened to Sugar Ray Leonard. It happened to Larry Holmes. It happened to Muhammad Ali. It happened to Joe Frazier. It happened to George Foreman. It happened to all of them. They started to decline. Some of these dudes got out at the right time. Some didn't. You saw it in Hearns. Hagler, that's a different story. Hagler wanted a rematch with Sugar Ray Leonard in a fight that I thought Hagler won that fight. Or best case scenario, you could have made it a draw. I thought Hagler did enough to beat Sugar Ray Leonard. Hagler retired kind of what you would call prematurely because he was so upset about the outcome of the Sugar Ray Leonard fight, where basically it was almost like a setup for Sugar Ray Leonard to win that fight because Sugar Ray Leonard was such a media darling at the time. Hagler, to a certain degree, he wasn't liked by all media for just a variety of different reasons. They had to run an investigation to get him and basically had to call out the sanctioning bodies just to get him a title shot. Well, that's what Canelo does. You can't get it. Listen, if somebody keep pretty much doing the same stuff over and over again, let's go back. Okay. Let's keep it 100. Let's look at Canelo's last few fights. He failed to get Berlanga out of there. He failed to get Charlo out of there. He failed to get John Ryder out of there. He failed to get Triple G out of there. And then he got the hell beat out of him by Dimitri Bivol. So these are all fights that Canelo's been involved in that he's not been able to get a stoppage in a while. When somebody is not able to have a stoppage within, like, at least once within their last few fights, especially when they're in their 30s, Canelo is approaching his mid-30s now. You have to wonder how much wear and tear he has on him. After what I saw yesterday, Canelo fans are not going to like it. They're going to call me a hater. They're going to call me every name but a child of God, but I'm okay with that. I can take it. I'm a big boy. After what I saw, Canelo better stay the hell away from Beterbiev or Bivol. He cannot beat neither one of them. He will get badly hurt if he fights Beterbiev, and then this will be the first fight he gets stopped in. If he fights Dimitri Bivol again, he's going to get stopped. Bivol gave Canelo respect in the first fight. He's not going to give Canelo respect in the second fight. And if I'm Bivol watching Canelo's performance, I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to go after this dude in the rematch, and I'm going to stop him. He had every advantage in his favor. Did y'all see the size of that ring that Canelo fought in? That might have been a 16 by 16 ring. That ring was small. And Canelo still couldn't get Berlanga out of there. He better not fight Bivol again. He getting stopped. He better stay the hell away from Bivol. Bivol will have even more confidence. If you're Dimitri Bivol and you're watching him versus Edgar Berlanga and you seeing him struggle against a guy like this, Bivol would take Berlanga apart. Bivol would stop Berlanga within 6 rounds. And that's when he was fighting at 168. Bivol would stop him. And then you had people sitting up, and then y'all had the audacity to say that Canelo could beat Andre Ward. Are you guys that delusional? Are you guys on that? Are y'all off of that Colombian Bam Bam? Are y'all off of that good Peru, that 80% Peru? Y'all really think that Canelo could beat Andre Ward? Delusional. Nutso. Canelo, like I said before, Beterbiev will be Canelo's last fight. He will retire Canelo. When I say he will retire Canelo, he will retire Canelo. Because once Beterbiev gets Canelo up against the ropes, oh, it's night for Canelo. He's going to push Canelo back. He's going to bully Canelo. And I'm telling you right now, once Beterbiev starts applying pressure to Canelo, it's going to be a long, short night for him. And if Bivol gets past Beterbiev, he's going to go into a rematch with Canelo like, I'm going to go for broke. He can't hurt me. Canelo's punches wasn't doing nothing to Bivol. They didn't affect him one way, shape, or form. But Bivol's punches was clearly affecting Canelo's. And I tried to explain that to this dude that just got all emotional and stuff. And you know, and was just tripping. Yeah, they was off that they was off that good dope. Somebody in the comment section said Andre Ward would be an easy. When I say Andre Ward would make Canelo quit on the stands, he would make Canelo quit. I'm talking about I'm talking about that would be such an uncompetitive fight. I mean, the art of delusion, the art of delusion with Canelo stands. Actually believing that Ward would lose to Canelo. And no way, shape, or form, any facet of boxing could Canelo do anything with Ward. Stop the cap. Stop making fools of yourself, Canelo fans. You showed your lack of knowledge for boxing. When knowledge becomes ignorance, I can't talk to you. I can't have a conversation with you. I can't. Oh, Canelo ain't yelling no mas. Canelo gonna get carried out on the stretcher if he fight Bibble. I mean, if he fight Better Beeb, he gonna get carried out. It ain't gonna be no mas because Canelo gonna get his ass stretched. He gonna get stretched. So can we just stop it? Canelo on the decline. His box rec says it. His performance says it. You had no business losing to me. You had no business. To me, that win was like a loss. You had no business letting that guy go 12 rounds with you. And then you're going to say you're the best fighter in the world. According to who? Who are you trying to convince that you're the best fighter in the world? You don't have me convinced that you're the best fighter in the world. Who has the best stadium arena for boxing? Um, as far as boxing go, as far as arenas go, it's a smaller venue. But the Mandalay Bay is a great venue to watch a boxing match. I mean, at capacity, it can hold 12,000 people, but it's a small venue. But there's not a bad seat in the Mandalay Bay. Now, the MGM Grand is a good arena too because the MGM Grand um, doesn't have really bad seats. One of the worst is the T-Mobile Arena. Terrible venue to watch a fight at. Now, I think a good stadium. I think a Legion Stadium, I think would be the perfect, football stadium. Cowboy Stadium is good because Cowboy Stadium has that extremely large jumbotron. But I would like to see the first combat sports event in a Legion Stadium, just to see how it feels out. So there you have it. But anyway, you guys, appreciate y'all being here. Got to get up out of here.